Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD. All right, listen up. Napheesa Collier is once again making it crystal clear. This isn't just frustration, it's a message. During the Unrivaled broadcast, Collier doubled down on her stance about the WNBA's leadership and the ongoing CBA issues, and she didn't mince words. This all traces back to her explosive comments last year when she accused Commissioner Cathy Engelbert of making deeply dismissive remarks, including suggesting Caitlin Clark should be grateful the league gave her a platform. Yeah, let's see what she said. Collier didn't stop there. She called out what she sees as a pattern, year after year, of leaders avoiding responsibility, issuing fines, and ignoring the real problems players are begging to be fixed. She labeled it negligence, plain and simple. Engelbert has denied ever making those comments, but the damage appears done. The divide feels wider than ever. And now, Collier is pointing to Unrivaled as proof that a player-centered model can work, if leadership actually listens.
Here with us at this time. Yeah, well, our deadline is coming up right now in a couple of days. And I think you've just heard a lot of chatter about, what we're asking for is not sustainable for the business. And being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can, because we've proven that it is possible. There is a way, and we're thriving in that. And so I do think a deal is going to get done, but we're standing firm in what we believe in. We're not going to back down, and we can't take less. The sport has just grown too much. It would be a disservice to the people who came before us, to the work that we put in, to take less than what we're owed. Yeah.
As a star player, a union leader, and a co-founder of Unrivaled, she has seen both sides of the business, and her message is unmistakably clear. The argument that fair player compensation isn't sustainable no longer holds up when a player-led league is actively proving otherwise. Unrivaled stands as a real-time example that innovation, smart leadership, and respect for players can coexist with profitability. As the CBA deadline approaches, Collier's stance reflects a broader shift in women's basketball, one where players are no longer willing to accept less simply to keep the lights on. The game has grown, the audience has grown, and the value has grown. And if the WNBA wants to keep pace with its own evolution, it will have to meet its players where the future already is.
Let's see fans' reactions. Here said, TNT is taking massive losses for this thing to pretend like they're a successful league. As soon as TNT has to start crediting back advertisers, that handout money goes away, and this thing collapses. Let's be for real here. Let's actually be real. There's no public evidence TNT is taking massive losses or crediting back advertisers. That's speculation. New leagues almost always operate at a loss early, including the NBA, WNBA, MLS, and UFC. Unrivaled is player-owned, cost-controlled, and filling an off-season media gap with guaranteed distribution. You don't have to believe in it, but calling it a collapse based on assumptions isn't analysis, it's guesswork. Here said, they're still spending investors' money. The league isn't profitable. Yeah, man, you right, because of investors. Here said, a 2-year 3v3 pop-up league? Please, come back when Unrivaled has lasted 3 decades. You can't take her seriously. Okay, let's see. Here said, say it louder, Fee. Yeah, she said louder and confirmately. Let's see what coming. Here said, everyone needs to be hammering Cathy Engelbert and her cronies as either incompetent and/or corrupt. The W needs a clean sweep at the highest levels to reach its vast potential. Okay, accountability at the top is absolutely fair to demand. When leadership repeatedly misses obvious growth opportunities, dismisses its biggest stars, and delivers inconsistent results, people are going to question competence and priorities. The WNBA's potential is undeniable, but potential alone doesn't build a league. Smart, transparent leadership does. If the league truly wants to grow, it needs decision makers who understand modern sports economics, media, and fan engagement, not insiders protecting the status quo. Fans calling this out isn't hate, it's holding leadership responsible. Someone said, "Does Unrivaled have a CBA?" No, the Unrivaled Women's 3-on-3 Basketball League does not have a collective bargaining agreement in the traditional sense. Here said, "Sustainable business. This is Unrivaled's second season. It's nothing compared to 30 years of the W. If you ladies wanted change, you should have started these new talks before 2023, but you didn't have the momentum then, so now you're using someone else's name to get what you want." I think she is talking about Caitlin Clark, if I'm not wrong. I agree. Here said, "Unrivaled has not shown a profit, but the conflict of interest is so undeniable. Nice try, Fee." So you want the players to not get paid, is what you're saying? Lol, weird position to take. Do you do the same thing at your job? Tell your employer you want to be paid less so they can keep more of the profits. Too many people talking about Unrivaled. Weird if they're making a profit at this point. Here said, "It's the put people in place who can that had me like, I." Okay. Here said, "Sustainable business is crazy." Oh my goodness. Someone said, "Say it, Queen, just saying the facts here." Yeah, man, the fact is real. Let's see what came. Here said, "Lol, she ran it for 1 year." Yeah, man, she's injured. Injury on her leg, not on mouth. Wow. Yeah, man, this is wow. Here said, "Haha, Unrivaled is a flop." Okay. Here said, "I've noticed most women have a high IQ and commitment in building a relationship than they do a business. That being said, Fee has very little to no business acumen." Man, people give their own reviews connected something somewhere. Here said, "It's been 1 year and she talking sustainability, shaking my head." Okay. Here said, "Of course." Damn, she cooked on that. Here said, "He wants the WNBA to tank so Unrivaled can be bigger." Someone said, "They play all their games out of the same location. They train in the same location. Overhead is clearly much smaller. Is she being serious? How is it sustainable? You've had 1 season. You don't even have an app." Yeah, man, there's no app right now. I think according to him, apps make sustainable. Here said, "Not sure if it's me or because 3 blowouts, but after watching all 4 games, it feels like the hype has died down a bit. It's basically a glorified training camp. I noticed many empty seats on opening day. Get that bag, just not sure will last. It's Unrivaled's pre-session, what you aspects. Even there is no CC, Angel, or Aja." And yet, no conflict. Someone said, "She does not understand basic business. She's delusional as fuck, clown-ass take. Oh my goodness." Here said, "1 season of a league that nobody's watching and player salaries are fully dependent on private investors, not profit. Lol, can she be any more unserious?" Here said, "This bitch is retarded. 3v3, small rosters, 1 location, 1 gym, small arena. She is clueless how to run shit." Here said, "With all due respect, you're only your 2nd year of Unrivaled, so I highly doubt you know in depth what it takes to run a sustainable business. I'm sure at some point in the future that will resonate." Man, these are fans' reviews. Sustainable business in year 2? Good lord. Good lord, she sounds like someone taught her a few jargon keywords and thought they could pass her as an intelligent business person.
Okay, according to these reactions, when you strip away the sarcasm, jokes, and extreme reactions, the fan response really boils down to 3 clear themes: skepticism, accountability, and wait-and-see realism. Many fans don't buy the word sustainable after just 1 completed season, especially for a league still funded by investors, lacking a CBA, and already showing early signs of uneven play and limited attendance. Others, fairly, point out that new leagues always lose money early, and that Unrivaled's low overhead and off-season niche give it a fighting chance. What's undeniable, though, is that trust hasn't been earned yet.
Fans are questioning leadership, both in the WNBA and Unrivaled, not out of hate, but because results matter more than buzzwords. Caitlin Clark's absence looms large in these conversations, whether people admit it or not. Bottom line, Unrivaled isn't proven. It isn't dead, and it isn't above criticism. The market will decide, but not on talk, on execution. I'm just being honest, this Unrivaled setup isn't really hitting. 3-on-3 isn't moving the needle like that, and I don't see how this version scales long term. It feels more like an experiment than a must-watch product. I'm especially curious about the ratings, because that's where reality shows up. The early game times didn't help either. It felt out of place for a league trying to build momentum. At the end of the day, opinions don't matter as much as numbers. Let's see what the True TV and TNT ratings actually look like, because that's going to tell the real story. If Caitlin Clark played in Unrivaled, the scenario would not be the same at all. Her presence alone changes the entire ecosystem. Caitlin Clark is a ratings driver, a ticket mover, and a social media engine in a way no other player currently is. With her on the floor, you immediately get higher viewership, more sellouts, more highlights circulating, and more casual fans tuning in, not just core WNBA fans. That said, even with Caitlin, the league wouldn't be immune to structural issues. Blowouts, a training camp feel, and lack of real stakes would still matter. She can elevate interest, but she can't single-handedly fix competitive balance or long-term retention. So the truth is twofold. Viewership would be much higher with Caitlin Clark, but sustainability still wouldn't be guaranteed unless the product improves. She raises the ceiling dramatically, but the league still has to build a solid foundation to keep people watching once the novelty wears off. Tell me what you think. I am done. Peace. I am out. Don't forget, like and subscribe.